Well, hey everyone, welcome to the Traveling Bodie. I'm Brian. We're inside Bodie today. Here's a little bit of a sneak peek. Got the barn roof. Anyway, we both got some questions for you. Doesn't matter if it's tiny living, if it's a yurt, if it's a cabin, a tiny house on wheels, or if it's a bus, whatever you're doing. When you're considering getting to the point of designing the interior of your dwelling, how are you going to do that? My best suggestion, and I'm guessing you're already doing it, is just what I did. Binge watch YouTube, go through Instagram. There's no shortage of details, plans, and options on how to design the inside of your dwelling. But one thing that I want to mention is when you're doing it, pulling a card out of the permaculture principles, there's this idea of design from patterns to details, right? Patterns to details, because you can have large scale patterns, and as you get closer to the end, you get to the details, right? So when you're first designing, start with a general pattern, right? There's so many rig layouts, tiny house layouts, and yes, there's sort of like the generic layout that exists for a lot of things. And at the same time, this is your place. You can design it however you want to. That's the real cool thing about it, right? You can have a theme. Like for me, there was one particular person I was looking, like, I really like her general layout. I went with it, but you would not know that my rig was built after hers because there's no even close semblance of the two other than a generic basic layout similarity. So that's a cool thing. And the other thing too, in tiny living, you kind of get credit for originality and uniqueness. Like this barn roof, like I had an idea. I wanted some sort of barn roof, but I didn't know how that was going to work. And if you want to see the video on how that happened, check out my bus build videos linked above here, right? Or whatever side it's on. It was like a divine intervention that I got free barn wood from a barn in Michigan, like literally a quarter mile from where I was doing my build. So God helped out on that one. Thank you so much, Lord. Either way, that was a detail. The plan was, the pattern was like, yeah, it'd be kind of nice to have a wood roof. So either way, or wood ceiling. So either way, when you're planning your bus or your tiny house, however that is, sort of play with plans. And I'll never forget, and I'll share this. Part of picking what design and layout and floor plan that you're going to have for your dwelling is, one, how are you going to function inside of it? But two, what are your non-negotiables? For me, and I'll just tell you this, my non-negotiable was this guy. Was a full actual fridge. And with that, once that was decided, the rest of the whole thing came together, because I'm like, oh, well, if that's there, that means then I have to do that, choosing to do this, right? So keep that in mind. What are your non-negotiables? And in a further video, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about showers. We're going to talk about showers and toilets. So things to consider, and I'll just label them off here since we're on the design. Do you want a sink? Do you want a shower? Do you want a toilet? What size refrigerator do you want? How big of a bed do you want? Do you want your bed to be turned into a living space and then turned back to a bed at night? Or do you just want a permanent bed? These are things to consider when you're doing your design. Do you want a dinette like I'm sitting at right now? What are the specific things that are the non-negotiables for your build? For your tiny house? Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a non-mobile dwelling. Again, if you want non-mobile dwellings, check this link out for non-mobile dwellings. But if you want mobile, non-mobile, doesn't matter, right? Like, what are your non-negotiables? What do you really need? How are you going to operate in this dwelling? So things to consider as you are getting in that structure of wanting to build tiny. Get real clear. What are your non-negotiables? That's the most important thing. And then from there, start designing. Yeah, pick little things off of Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube that you like, little details. And from there, design it out, right? So think about it. Anyway, thank you all for listening. If you have any more questions you want to add to this, please send them our way. I'm more than happy to answer questions for you. And until then, thank you all. Love all of you. Thank you for listening. See you down the road and have a wonderful day.